All right, so I'm gonna give you both sides of this equation. My name is Luke Del Priore, one of the owners of a company called Del Priore Hospitality, a multi-million-dollar marketing company in the hospitality niche. And this is my girlfriend, Caroline, who worked for a corporate company, now she's obviously with me, and you know, she doesn't get to work anymore, but she worked for a corporate company, and she generated millions of dollars in sales for this company as an employee. And we're gonna give you everything that we know. We both made a ton of money in sales. Obviously, I'm still working and I'm still killing it. I run a sales team. I'm going to tell you the top things that have honestly made me the most amount of money in the shortest period of time as a salesperson and in training salespeople. And for Caroline as well, working with tons of different associates at her sales job, working the phone outbound, making cold calls, getting clients onto Zoom calls and closing leads. So here's everything that we know. No frills, no bullshit. You could go on my YouTube, you could watch videos of me closing deals live. I'm not one of these gurus that's gonna tell you, oh, here's what to do, here's how to do it, without showing you me actively doing it. So below this,
you can go to my LinkedIn.
Exactly.
If you don't believe me.
Below this video, I'm gonna plug some videos of me actually on live sales calls so that you can see what selling live actually looks like. So let me just first start with this, okay? The opportunity matters less than you think. That's gonna be number one. Caroline was making, how much did you make in your best year?
My best year, $430,000.
Okay, so she made $430,000 working for a corporate company. And this year, personally, I'll take home and out of my business well over $1 million. Okay, why was she able to make multiple six figures? Why am I able to make seven figures? How does that work? Okay, we had completely different opportunities. She was selling payroll services. I sell marketing to businesses. It doesn't matter as much as you think what the opportunity is. I know millionaires in wholesale real estate. I know millionaires that work sales jobs like insurance jobs. I know millionaires that work as remote closers for courses. I know millionaire salespeople in damn near every field. And the reason that I know millionaire salespeople in damn near every field is because how you approach the opportunity and the level of willingness to learn that you approach the opportunity with matters way more than the opportunity itself. You might be in a business model where you make $15,000 net income per sale. You might be in a different business model that pays you $500 a month for every single sale that you get. It doesn't matter. As long as you can work in volume and close deals, you're going to make money. Caroline, if you would have been selling for a different business, you probably still could have made similar, if not the same amount of money.
Yeah.
The opportunity is not as important as people think. So if you're watching this video and you're a fucking job hopper.
Well, it depends. If it's uncapped commission, I think that's a great opportunity. If you're not getting a base, it still could be a good opportunity depending on where you and like what you put your energy in.
Well, that's
how hard you're working.
Well, that's gonna phase into my second point is that if you go work a job that specifically a sales job that's a base pay plus commission, in most cases you will have a cap on how much commission you can earn. Okay, so there's a glass ceiling on your income level. The best salespeople that I know, the richest salespeople that I know, operate and function like a business owner. Okay. They don't want a base pay. They go into whatever company they're approaching and they say, listen, I'm the best. This is what I know I can produce. Even if they have no experience in that field, I want to work on all commission, but because I'm working on all commission, I want higher commission than the people that have base pay plus commission. That's, I don't know if you've experienced that too. That's a pattern in a ton of the most successful salespeople that I've met. They don't give a shit about a base pay, because if their base pay is $80,000 a year, but they know they could really crush it, they know they can make $800,000 a year in commission. Yeah. What the fuck do they care about the 80 grand for?
The less base is better for you, because I feel like your ass is on the line. You better fucking sell it if you want to make money, if you want to make ends meet.
Exactly.
I think I was getting 45 base when I first started. And by the time it was my third year in, I was like, I didn't even know when my biweekly pay came in.
Right.
Because I was focused on commission and how much money I was going to make. And then it was uncapped. So that's a huge opportunity.
When you go,
you can sell as much as you want. You can make as much as you want. Like, write down the dollar amount of what you want to make that month, sell that much, and that's what you're making.
Exactly. When you go into a sales opportunity and when you go into a sales job, you need to have a target. Okay. This is another thing. A lot of salespeople just wake up, they start dialing the phone. Some days are bad, some days are good. They don't know their averages, okay? So this is something that you should know. Let's say you're working for a business as an appointment setter. You should know exactly how many phone calls it takes for you to get a meeting. You should know how many meetings it takes for you to get a closed deal. You should know how many closed deals it takes for you to make $1,000, how many closed deals it takes for you to make $10,000, so on and so forth. If you know all of your numbers, you'll know that sales is just a numbers game. It's a game of simple fucking math. If I do X, I will receive Y. If I do A, I will receive B. The reason a lot of people fail in sales jobs and in sales opportunities and they end up quitting is because they literally don't know their numbers and they don't know what they're actually going to get to. So they wake up lost, they make some calls, some days are good, some days are bad. And those are the salespeople that you hear that always say, oh yeah, sales are up and down. Sales are inconsistent. Sales are seasonal. Those are the type of people that don't know their numbers. So because they don't know their numbers, they feel like things are very seasonal. They feel like they don't know what they're actually going to get. And that creates a lot of stress and resentment towards sales positions. And that's why most salespeople fail. It's because most salespeople quit. You need to be able to show up for yourself like an entrepreneur. It's the mentality of you eat what you kill. That is what is going to get you paid. Not how much money will someone pay me to show up and sit in a fucking chair. If you want that type of position, then you should just go work a salary job, because guess what? I don't know too many salary employees that can't directly show that they've helped to drive sales for a company that make good money anyway. So another thing that you need to get over as a salesperson is any kind of stigma that you may have in your own head of, oh, working a sales job is sleazy or is grimy. Guys, what does the CEO of a company do? Big title, right? CEO, Chief Executive Officer. They're helping that company make more money. They're helping to recruit. They're onboarding systems that can help generate more sales. They are glorified salespeople. Any kind of C-suite person in a business, if you're a chief financial officer, you're looking at the finances of a company and you're monitoring how sales are looking versus expenses. Sales are the lifeblood of every single business. So do not have any stigma towards sales. Don't ever get in your head like, oh, maybe there's a better opportunity. Anything that's going to get you paid is always 1000% of the time going to be sales.
I agree. And what I will say is that it always gets better. Obviously, 80 dials eventually will turn into 20 where you're converting more and you're closing more. But that's why it's important to know how many calls you're making, how many appointments you're setting, how many closes you have, because it gets better. And it gets to the point where it's a muscle. So those 80 calls are turning to 20 and your closes are maybe 5 now because you're converting more. So if you have that relentless mentality of it's going to get better, this sucks right now, you will bypass those doubts and you'll start making a lot of money. And it becomes, like I said, it's a muscle. It becomes addicting and you're like, wow, my average deal, I closed 3 deals today, that turns to a muscle. Like I'm going to close this every day. That's the new norm.
Absolutely. You also need to master one product. So one thing that I see a lot of salespeople do terribly, for example, if I was a real estate agent, okay, real estate agents can work with buyers. They can also work with sellers, but closing a deal as with the buyer versus a seller looks very different. I would specialize in working with people that want to sell their home and the homes are evaluated between $500,000 and $3 million. And that's my niche, because then every single conversation, every positive testimony, every reference is people that look just like that person. So when you're building your business and when you're building your book of sales and clients that you've sold, the more similar all of your customers look, the easier it is going to be to sell the next deal, which is why I would say go into a very niche sales opportunity and into a very niche business. Don't go into some vague opportunity where someone can buy the same product or service at the same rate from a different company. So make sure that what you're selling gives you a little bit of a competitive edge based on the product or service that it is that you sell. For example, me, inside of my company, we sell wedding venue advertising to companies, and we sell a very unique system where I know they haven't seen it on the last 10, 15, 20 Zoom calls they were on. When they see it, as I'm presenting it to them on call, it's gonna be the first time they've ever even friggin' seen it, which is exactly what I want. I wanna be able to compete on the fact that I am unique, and I wanna be able to compete on the fact that I know the prospect has not seen what it is that I do, which ties into another sales-based tactic that you need to have. There is going to be a specific amount of objections. It could be 5, it could be 10, it could be 15. It depends on your opportunity that are going to pop up all of the time. Okay, so there's going to be certain objections that you always get and they consistently just keep popping up. Okay, with these objections that you get, If you have not learned how to absolutely master the same 5, 10, 15, or 20 objections that you always get, then you are never going to make the kind of money that you could. You have to remember, human beings are very similar. I need to talk to my wife. I need to talk to my husband. I need to think about it. I need to pray on it. I'm not sure if this is the right time of year. I'm not sure if I have the budget for it. You're going to hear certain objections that just routinely pop up. And if you don't know how to handle those objections with absolute confidence, like an absolute expert, you're gonna show the prospect that you have a lack of confidence in everything that you're saying, and they're not gonna believe that you can actually deliver results. If they don't believe you can deliver results, they're never gonna pay you a premium. And that's where all the money is in sales. It's not being a commodity. You wanna sell something that they have not really seen before, and you wanna sell the fact that you are the best in the business. You're the absolute expert. If they believe that they're buying from the absolute expert and from the best in the business, they will pay a premium because the likelihood of success goes up. If the likelihood of success when working with you is low, the prospect is not going to be confident, they're not going to close, they're going to shop it around, which is another objection that you're going to end up hearing if you were not confident enough in your sales pitch. So one thing I'll say, if you're a shy person or if you're someone that doesn't have genuine confidence, you need to build such a high level of confidence in the product or service that you're selling where you feel like you're fucking the prospect over if they don't buy it. And that's where sales are going to absolutely unlock for you at a level that you could not fathom. So stop worrying about the opportunity, okay? All opportunities can be good, especially these days. You'll know if you have a shit opportunity. And if you don't, DM me on Instagram at LukeDelPriori_. I'll tell you if your opportunity is garbage or not. Outside of that, you also need to know your numbers, okay? So know how many calls it takes and how many meetings it takes to get a deal, what that deal pays you, and then break that down on a daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly basis so that you can have a sales target. You need to have a target just like everyone does. You know if you have an 80 or an 85 on a test, that's what, a B+. If you have a 95, it's an A- or an A or an A+. Treat your sales position the exact same way. Know your numbers so that you know what you're actually aiming for. Because if you don't know where you're aiming, you'll fail.
I have one thing to chime in on, which is completely important, is believing in the product. I feel like that is a huge, huge thing that a lot of people, they're like, oh, like I'm selling this. I don't know if it's gonna work. I don't know if people feel that on the other side of the phone. They feel that energy. If you're iffy about the product, you're probably not selling something that you should be selling. You really do have to believe in it. You have to believe that it's going to change this person's life. It's going to be better for the business. That is going to bring energy into the call. And like I said, the other person can feel that on the other end. And that's why I agree with him. You have to have confidence going into the call.
And that's why the product needs to be good. Because the reality is the value exchange and the value equation, whether you like it or not, always needs to be better for the buyer. So there needs to be more in it for the buyer than there is the seller, because the person putting up the money is the person that is technically putting up the risk, you can say. So if someone's buying, let's say, a fitness program, and the program is $5,000, and someone's selling them meal planning, nutrition, a training program, coaching calls, and support, they need to know that by having you in their corner as someone that might be out of shape or overweight or has a goal that they want to get to, that this $5,000 is a small price to pay because now you're not paying for your blood pressure medicine. This $5,000 is a small price to pay because now you're not going to pay the debt of experiences that you missed because you couldn't play with your kids. It's a small price to pay because now you're not going to have to pay the price of not being able to extend your life and make money for an extra 5 to 10 years that you could have been working in better health. You would have made more money. So what's the cost of not doing this is what the prospect needs to be thinking. So what I want you to remember is people are more motivated by a perceived loss than a perceived gain. So how I sell is I always say, by not ranking your website better on Google, by not making these changes, it's costing you business. We've proved it because we helped this business get to XYZ result. They were losing these bookings by not implementing this thing that it is that we sell. So now they feel as though if I implemented this thing, I know I would get this result. So if I don't implement the thing, I'm not gonna get the result. That's how you want your prospects thinking. That's the frame of mind that you want them in. If they're thinking about their perceived loss and not just their perceived gain, you're not now having people in the would-be nice mentality. You're having people in a situation where they're saying, oh crap, I'm missing business by not doing this thing. I'm losing deals by not doing this thing. No one wants to lose anything. Right? Loss is one of the hardest things. When you lose someone, when they die, when you go through a breakup, Loss is what hurts. Perceived gain is not what humans are really motivated by. So you need to sell what they could be losing out on and what they could be missing out on to really motivate them and get under their skin enough to change.
I think getting to that point too before is asking the right questions.
Absolutely.
And he does an amazing job like that. With that,
you guys need to ask questions. Just like Caroline said, your questions are your best friend because your questions will reveal everything that you need to then sell. So when you're going through your pitch, you need to be asking questions like, well, what are you doing right now that hasn't worked? What are you doing right now that's working? I just want to make sure nothing overlaps, so just be transparent with me. You need to be absolutely confident that the questions that you're asking are valid to the prospect, and you need to get the prospect to drop their guard a bit so that they actually want to tell you what's going on, what their pain points are, where they need help, why they might need you, all of the above.
Especially when it comes to that, if you have, short-term memory loss, make sure you're writing this down, because that is ammo for you when you're going for the close. Everything you're writing down, everything they're answering, all the questions, it's only going to be in your benefit.
You need to be
towards the end of the call when you're closing.
You need to be an active listener.
But listening is the most important thing. That was the biggest flaw when I first started. I was a talker. I'm still a talker. But there were times I'm like, okay, I need to just put myself on mute because now I'm talking myself out of the deal.
You will talk yourself out of the deal. Prospects are solely interested in the result that they're going to get. So when you're talking, you need to make sure that what you're saying has real validity, that what you're saying is not just you overbearing so that the prospect's like, well, what's going on right now? Like, I want to share my side of the story and what's going on for me. You're just blabbering and pitching at me. People don't just want to be pitched to. It's not fun for them. It's not what they want. It's not ideal. So make sure that when you're talking to the prospect, when they start speaking, you are actively listening to what it is that they're saying. They're going to get a ton of value in you're going to get a ton of value in your pitch and being able to actually listen and hear what the prospect is saying and not just overcrowding them and overbearing them with info. They know that you have something to sell. Be a fucking active listener. And the last thing that I want to touch on is just work your ass off.
Yeah.
Stop it. You need to work open to close. There was a football coach that touched on this concept when he brought his, basically football-based mentality into sales, is that it's open to goal. It's not like, oh yeah, let's just start doing our thing and let's just see where we go. No, you need to absolutely bust your ass, and you need to make sure that what you're doing is based upon, hey, I'm not going to stop calling till I hit my mark, till I hit my goal. You need to be locked in on your goal. You need to see a vision for what you actually want to do. And you got to put the work in. There's no ifs, ands, or buts or ways around that. I'm sorry. If anyone tells you otherwise, they're fucking lying to you. They're absolutely 1000% lying to you. There's plenty of people that you're going to see that are going to tell you, you can make $100,000 a month. You can make this much money. You can make that much money. These people are working 12, 14-hour days. So for a period of time, be okay with sacrificing your quality of life for 3 months, 6 months, a year so that you could unlock a fantastic life. I'll give you a perfect example. When I first started building my business, I was working 80 to 100 hours a week, every single week without fail, grinding my ass off every day, every week, nonstop. And I could not see an end to it. I got to a point where I built systems, I hired people, I got things moving in a way that started to work for me. And eventually I realized I can still continuously make more and more money every month with only working 70 hours a week. And then it went down to 60 hours a week, and then 50 hours a week. And now I can get away with working a 40-hour week, building my business. I could focus on spending time in other areas that I want to, like my physical fitness, my health, other things that I really want to do. And I'm not bottlenecked with my time. So you guys got to understand, you can achieve that at a certain point, but for a period of time, you got to give that up. It's part of the sacrifice of getting to where you actually want to get to. So how bad do you want that? Do you really want the base pay that bad where you're not going to sacrifice a couple months of less income, a couple months of not getting what you want, but down the road, you could build a system that pays you $50, $80, $100,000 a month every month, even if you're barely working? To me, that's a small price to pay.
I agree. My first commission check ever was $80, and I was like, I don't know if this job is for me. I thought I was bad in sales. My confidence was low, and that then turned into $60,000 commissions every single month.
You stick with it. You stick with it,
and it is a rat race. Like, that is the truth about being in sales. It is up and down, but No one said it was gonna be easy, and Rome obviously wasn't built in a day. Either.
Exactly. The
Like,
only
if you
guarantee
want,
that you
it's
fail.
never gonna come
The
easy.
only guarantee that you fail is if you just stop calling, if you stop dialing the phone. So just understand there's going to be days that are not as good as others, but that's why the numbers are so important. You'll know your averages. So you'll know, all right, every month I'm going to have 3 shit days, 5 great days, 10 decent days. So you know your numbers. And once you know your numbers, you know as long as I stick to the inputs, I'm going to get the output. Then the whole thing becomes a fucking math equation, and it's like, oh shit, I'm gonna make a lot of money. Let me just stick to what I need to do.
I also think that your foot should always be on the gas. Like every single day, just like anyone played sports in high school, college, every single game you started at 0.
Of course.
Okay, so go into every single day, you're starting at 0. Okay, you got a deal yesterday, it's a brand new day. You woke up, sun shining, get 2 more deals today. So
Yeah.
you have to have that constant stepping on the gas. Like
Yeah.
you can't have breaks.
And for my salespeople that start making a bit of money and that start actually generating decent income, do not spend money like you're rich. Because if sales are really up and down and whatever it is that you're doing to start, obviously you'll figure out your averages. You're spending money that you really don't have. Chalk it up to a little bit of luck, even if it doesn't feel that way. I live far below my means. I live a great life. I drive nice cars. I live in a great house. I go out. But I still live far below my means. And I put a significant amount of my income every single month into investments, because if I put that money into investments, in my mind, the money's gone. The money I put into investments, I'm not allowed to touch. I don't liquidate it, I let it sit there, and I don't fucking move it. So, let me reject this call really quick. That's separate advice, but make sure that you're moving like you're broke, invest your money, and stay consistent.
And I have one last question for Luke.
Let me hear it.
Would you say it's a good excuse for employees to say it's a slow time, it's a slow month?
No.
What do you think of
No,
that?
because the best part about it being a slow month is it's an easy objection to handle. For example, oh, we're so busy right now. Fantastic. Well, listen, you built your business because you're busy. We love working with busy people. I would hate to work with someone that has nothing going on. Just give me 20 minutes of your time next Thursday. I want to show you exactly what we do so you can see what this would be worth for your business. Or,
No, I meant like-
business is
I'm
really
sorry.
business is really slow for us right now. Got it, totally understand. So if business is slow for you guys right now, why would you guys not be open to looking at something like this that could help you guys turn things around and increase things? So as a salesperson, if you're thinking December is a slow month typically for someone that's, in a position like mine and in my business, you should work pedal to fucking metal to make that one of your busiest months, because if you can do that, then when it's actually a good buyer's month, you're gonna make double. So don't ever accept like, oh, this is just a bad month. No, you can always turn that around. You can always make it a better month. And that's just my mentality, and that's my approach.
People were still buying in COVID. Everybody used that as an excuse. Oh, it's the market. It's the market. Why were still people making billions of dollars?
Right.
Millions. Why?
Yeah.
Because people are still buying. They're still out there. Money will always be made.
Exactly.
You have to go out and find it.
The prospect that didn't buy from you just went to Starbucks and got a coffee.
That's what I'm saying.
But on that note, I'm actually about to pull up to Starbucks and get a coffee, so I'm going to cut this video here. Thanks for watching. If you need any sales consulting advice, or if you're looking for a sales job, DM me on Instagram at LukeDelPriori_, and go watch that sales call in the description. Peace.
Bye.